Welcome to Tunneling Today with UCA. This is the podcast where we dig deep into the technical and personal stories of professionals driving progress one tunnel at a time. Whether you're in the field or somewhere underground, this is where we shine a light on what's happening below our feet.
Tunnel boring machines, popularly known as TBMs, have been around since the early 1800s and have reshaped the tunneling industry as we know it. So it begs the question, what goes into making these big machines, and what are some of the projects that they've built in the past? Hello, and welcome to Tunneling Today with UCA. My name is Botlhe, and I'm your host for episode 2. With me are two gentlemen here who are not shy from the tunneling industry. We have Mr. Steffen Dubé with Herrenknecht, and we have John DiPonio with Contractors. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Do you mind just giving a quick introduction about yourselves and a little bit of your background?
Sure. I'll start, yeah. I work for Herrenknecht Tunneling Systems. Have been working for the company for over 20 years now. Started as an intern, actually. Did an apprenticeship in the company as a metal worker and worked my way up in the company. And in the meantime, I'm managing the US and the Canadian entity out of North America.
Perfect. And what about you, John?
My name's John DiPonio. I'm with Contractors. I'm recently became president of Contractors. I started professionally there in 2003. I would say I've been working since I was 14 years old for the company. It's a family-owned company.
Yeah.
So I spent the first 10 years of my career traveling the country, working on projects, and happy to be here today.
That is awesome. I'm happy to have you guys here. So we like to kick it off with a quick icebreaker. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. What is one thing that you always carry with you? And I can go first. Mine is like chapstick. I always carry, particularly Vaseline. I always carry Vaseline with me. And what about you?
What do I carry? Actually, nowadays, you know what? It's my AirPods because we are so always on the run and taking meetings everywhere. And those are super convenient and I cannot leave the house without them nowadays. I feel like.
It's good. And what about you, John?
I would say it's not something I carry, but it's something I wear. It's comfortable shoes. I love wearing comfortable dress shoes. And I'm also, when I'm not in a business function, I'm a sneaker guy and I like wearing my Nike sneakers. So
I need to take a page from your book because I'm always in heels and sometimes I'm like, maybe I should have gone the comfortable route. So, well, today we're going to learn a little bit more about you guys as well as some insights to TBMs and some of the projects that it's built. Steffen, you were mentioning that you studied back in Germany, right? And then moved to the US where you then became president of a really big TBM company. So how has that experience been just moving from somewhere different and coming to the United States? And what are some differences in the culture that you've noticed in the industry over there as compared to here?
Yeah, I started in Germany back in 2002, actually, and was in different departments in the company and also was abroad from there. So I was in Australia, I was in Malaysia, I was in Switzerland. Saw a lot of different cultures there already, and then coming to the US and then to Canada as well. For sure, there's major differences in cultures, there's major differences in how people communicate, languages. But what always amazes me, at some point when you're on the tunneling side and you're trying to figure out a problem, once you communicate, even if the language is not there, but you communicate, you talk with each other, the problem solving doesn't matter what the culture is. If everybody pulls together and communicates properly, then actually the problems get solved one way or another. The language is maybe not there, the culture is different, but as long as people talk with each other and have the common goal and the common understanding, then you see the similarities and you can sort it out and fix issues. So that's always amazing me because in different parts of the world and at the end it comes down to that.
Together, yeah. I mean, I have a similar experience, but not necessarily in tunneling. I also moved into the US from Botswana. And my first time coming here, I remember I went to order some food and I was asking for chips. And they didn't know what that was because it's called French fries here. So definitely sometimes we have those communication breakdowns, but working towards the same goal at the end is what matters for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And John, you had mentioned that your business is family owned, right? And I think down to 3 generations. So you're the 3rd generation.
that's correct. Yeah.
How has it been taking over the company? And is this something that you had wanted to do? Did you know you always wanted to do this or did you want to pursue something else?
I always had a lot of family pride in the fact that we owned our own company, but I can tell you as a young kid, my first love was hockey. And so I wanted to become an NHL player, but quickly learned as I got older that was not in the cards. The other thing I also really liked, I mentioned, is sports. So I wanted to be a sports center announcer at one point in time, but again, those weren't exactly highly achievable for me. I'm just, that wasn't my expertise. So as I got older and older, I definitely got more involved in the family business. I started sweeping the shop floors when I was 14 years old in the summertime, and working through high school. And then I worked as a laborer on the projects, and then finally decided to go get my civil engineering degree and kind of formally, started my foray into working at JD professionally. So
I'm sure you get this a lot, but your initials are also the initials for the company. Was that planned, or it was just a happy coincidence?
Well, no, it's sort of planned. I mean, I'm named after my grandfather, John J. DiPonio, who founded JD Contractors in 1965. This is actually our 60th year in business this year. We'll have our 60th anniversary. So I was named for him, and that's how I got the name JD. But a lot of my friends have always called me JD just because that's my initials, and it's much easier to say. So.
I see. Okay. That is perfect. I'm also curious about your journeys into construction. Well, I guess yours was through the family business, but what about you? What brought you into the underground world, and why tunnels? Why HK specifically, I guess?
Why Herrenknecht? Yeah, so I was born in Canada, but I grew up in Germany. Son of a military, Canadian military, which was based in Germany. So going to school in Germany, I have to be quite honest, I didn't have the best grades in school. I was maybe slacking off a little bit in those teenage years. And then Herrenknecht is actually a big employer in our area. So the technical aspect kind of got me excited. So that's why I pursued just Herrenknecht technically, not really tunnel boring machines or underground. It was more like, that's a big employer, they make cool products, so let's check it out. So I did my apprenticeship there. And then there I excelled. Then I was interested in the matter, and maybe I got a little bit older and I got like very good grades. And that's what helped me going through the ranks in the company. And then after many years now, 2 decades with the company, I must say, every time I talk with not every time I talk with somebody else, but our product is very amazing. What we are building, tunnel boring machines, tunnels. And if we take 2 steps back, we have to say our industry is amazing, actually, what we are doing. And there is not much else out there. At least maybe I'm biased, but I don't know, in tech or software development, that doesn't excite me. If I think we are building tunnel boring machine, we are building tunnels, I mean, there's nothing which can beat that in my opinion. And that's what excites me and what makes me stick around. Let's put it that way.
I like that. I guess maybe for both of you guys,
Mhm.
when you were starting out, did you always see yourselves in this current position that you are in right now, or this was just also a happy coincidence?
Right when I was starting out, I did not ever think I was going to become the president of JD. As I said, I started in the field working as a laborer, so it was just trying to progress my way up the ladder, keep my head down, and learn as much as I can. Over time, I'd say 10 years or so, I started thinking that, I really the experience and education to pursue this. So that's kind of when I decided that was the track I wanted to take, if you will.
Awesome.
Yeah, I must say we have very many things in common, actually. I know John very well, but I'm learning also even more. Like, I mean, we both started kind of on the ground level. And I mean, for me, I never envisioned to be in the position I'm now. It kind of, every 2 years it changed. I got other offerings in the company to do something different. And I just went with the flow. And then eventually they offered me a job in the US. So I'm like, oh, I'll try that. And then that worked out. And I think the domino stones just fell. And I fell into this position. I hope I deserved it. I hope I'm doing a good job, but honestly, I didn't envision that. So for me, it just happened this way, and everything worked out very well, I would say.
Would you say there's some experiences in your journey that you're just like, man, that really helped me or equipped me to be the person I am today as you were traveling along all these different things? Like, what character building moments did you guys have that you would say helped you in this role?
For me, it's always the challenges or the problems that come up on a job. I mean, you never learn anything on a project that goes really well and it's smooth. But when you screw something up, to put it bluntly, those are the best learning experiences. So in construction, especially underground, things happen. So learning how to deal with those challenges as they come up is very important. And that's really what's helped me, in a lot of my experience.
I like that. Some lessons learned.
I think for me, it's learning from mentors. Like, I mean, I was really lucky having really good mentors in my company, but also in the industry, which lead by example, and just working under them and seeing how they manage people, how they manage situations, how they manage problems. That was just for me something to live up to come be a similar role model then later and learn from that. I mean, Mike DiPonio, for example, a great leader and sharing knowledge, like very amazing person. In our company, Martin Herrenknecht, the founder of the company, very amazing leader. So I think that's shaped me to see role models like that and try to live up to how they are handling their business.
And you guys have some relationships, I'm sure, because you being a TBM supplier, you being a contractor, have probably collaborated on a couple of jobs.
Sure.
What are some of those jobs, if you don't mind just sharing some details on those?
Well, I think the first TBM we actually purchased from Herrenknecht was on the First Street Tunnel project in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
That was with we're a JD and Skanska project that we built, and we liked our experience so much we started coming back to work together. Very recently, we actually just signed an agreement for a job up in New Hampshire, and for JD, it's our first slurry pressure balance TBM, and so that's a big step for us. We're really excited about that.
I think also a very, very significant project for us working together, and on the situations the project had to go through was the I-75 job, where we supplied a TBM to JD and worked together on this project. And there was some big hurdles to pass, and I think we did it together. And I think we can be proud of what the outcome of the project was, even though there were hurdles. But I think this was a very significant project also in our corporation.
That's amazing. Is there any project that has stood out to you in your time in the industry that maybe you just want to highlight?
Actually, the I-75 is a great example that Steffen brought up. You know, that one we used a non-pressurized face machine to start off with, and we encountered a unknown sand and silt lens with pretty high groundwater pressures there, and it ended up flooding the tunnel, and we had to stop and change up the machine. And Herrenknecht and Steffen and his team were integral in helping get that job turned around. I think it was 5 months we were able to literally change the type of machine underground, which, as we were discussing, we're not sure if that's ever been done before. So it was pretty cool and one of the highlights of my career so far. So,
Yeah,
I mean, sorry to take a very bad situation and then turn it into a very positive situation is a big highlight. So.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think converting the machine from a different machine type underground, I mean, I have not heard of that. That's like amazing feat to do this together. We delivered a machine in a short notice, or a conversion kit, let's say, and JD doing the hands-on work to change it. That was an amazing feat, and actually I feel like that's led us to trust that together we can rebuild machines. And now this machine actually, after it successfully finished the job, was then refurbished by JD in their facility, just finished a job at O'Hare Airport in Chicago, and now they're rebuilding it again for another job. So that challenge at the time led us actually to trust in ourselves that we can do that more often. JD is doing it, we support, and now it's being done this machine is being used over and over again, which is an amazing result of a bad situation.
I like that. Yeah, and you were talking about the challenge, attributing some of your character building moments to the challenges that you face. So this was probably one of those too. And I did hear the challenges are just opportunities, just waiting for success, so that's really beautiful. I did also want to ask, like, if you don't mind walking us through the flow path on when a project starts, you're interested in getting a TBM, you reach out to Steffen, and then there's that communication. So what is it like from start to finish? What are some things that you guys communicate on or work on?
If I'll start real quick. For me, one of the big keys on any tunnel project is the pre-bid or even pre-job phase of interaction, because most of these tunnel projects have very, very tight schedules, and the furnishing and construction of the TBM itself is a very long lead item. So working hand in hand pre-bid period to kind of iron out as many of the engineering details and early decisions that are required to help shorten the supply time on the TBM from our perspective is very key, because a lot of these jobs, they spend 3, 4, 5, 6 years in design, but then they only want to give you a fraction of that to build it. So that communication is key in my opinion.
Yeah, and that communication happens early. I mean, JD gets the documents, they are looking after projects they want to bid on, and once they have the documents in hand, that's usually the starting point. Ground condition, alignment, that's something our team looks at, and then together we discuss what's the best TBM solution for this. So these discussions, these are key early on, and then ideally JD wins the project, and then we already have ironed out the details, and we can kind of start the detailed design of the machine to shorten this lead time to get the machine to them to start the tunnel.
That's amazing. The last question that I have here, maybe for you, Stefan, what are some challenges of being a TBM supplier that you've come across so far?
I mean, talking about ground conditions, I think that's the challenge of our industry in general. We don't know what we're encountering. We have a couple of boreholes along the alignment, but what's between the boreholes, we don't know. So basically, together with experienced contractors, we have to build a machine for the unknown. So basically, we have to make sure we have all tools on board to be able to tackle things which are not known if they will come. There is a likelihood, but you never know. So I think that's the biggest challenge, and that only works with good trust, with good partners, and working hand in hand in a project. And I think that leads then to a successful project.
I see. And the alternate for you, John, is like, what are some challenges when it comes to, I guess, procuring TBM? Is it more so like the timing of it, right? I think is one.
That's one of the big keys for us. And then after we actually are successful on the bid and we get the contract going, having weekly regular meetings with all the right teams in place, the mechanical teams, electrical teams, supervisors, that's key to keeping the assembly of the machine or the construction of the machine on track.
That's perfect. Just to close it off, is there any advice or any tips you want to give for people maybe that are just starting out in the industry, people that are interested to working their way up like you guys did? What are some pieces of advice you'd like to share with them?
Maybe going back to my story. School is school, but if you're excited about something, and you're really putting your right mindset to the industry, if you're interested in it, there's plenty of opportunities. Like I said, I never would have imagined I'm here 20 years ago. Every couple of years I did something different. There was another opportunity. So just be open-minded. If there's an opportunity, take it, and talk with the experienced people, with the mentors, and pick their brain, because there's a lot of knowledge out there and a lot of cool stories which make you proud of the industry we're working in.
For me, it's being willing to go out there and get the field experience. There is no replacement for actual field experience. As I alluded to earlier, the first 10 years of my career, I spent moving around the country working on the projects in the field. Gathering as much in-field experience you can get it's critical for later on, especially if you're going to be in my opinion, potentially a designer or even a constructor on that side of the phase. Being able to have a mental picture of what you're trying to build or design is critical. And so when you're young, that's when it's more fun to travel as well. I mean, I got to see new places, live in new towns, and that's exciting as a young person as well. So recommend.
I appreciate that. That's all really good advice. That was all we had today. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You've been listening to Tunneling Today with UCA, where the stories are deep and the insights are deeper. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss a beat from the world of underground construction.